I always felt so alone as a kid. I always felt misunderstood. I never felt like I could be myself. It was always like everything was my fault. And this kept me in a lot of shame. See, in my house, when things got too heavy, my mother would leave, gone, pack a bag, and I could still hear the voice ringing in my ears. See what you made your mother do. And sometimes she'd be gone for a couple days. Sometimes she'd be gone for a couple weeks. And I don't know. I mean, this happened consistently over my childhood. So, first time 11, 12, and maybe once or twice a year since then. I think up until I was probably like 16-ish, 17-ish. This idea, see what you made your mother do, permeated my life. I had tremendous guilt because it was all my fault. As a teenager, as a little kid, it was all my fault. I felt that all the time, to the point where I just didn't care anymore. When my mother was gone, it felt so much safer to be home. It felt so much better to be home. But I couldn't escape that guilt as a kid. It was perpetual. And it was always reinforced. This is all your fault. I can't believe you said this. I can't believe you did this. As a young boy, that's all I understood. That everything was my fault. I have so much power over these adults and their behavior. Look what you made your mother do. As if I'm, I don't know, a small child that has more power than adults. That's the way my parents made it seem in only certain scenarios. And so I developed this magical thinking thing, like I could save my family or something like that. Well, if I have the power to make mom leave, I certainly have the power to save my family. And that created a lot of guilt and a lot of shame I had to work through in my life because not much changed as a kid. So what does that mean? I'm a failure. I'm a bad brother. I'm a bad person. A lot of my life, I felt that so strongly that even into my adult life, I still feel that from time to time. And I have to remind myself of who I was. I was an adult. I didn't have any tools to deal with what I was dealing with, and I certainly didn't have any way of actually helping my brothers and sisters. I was simply a child, and that's it. I had a child's tools for adult problems. I wonder if you've ever felt that way in your life, that you've had a child's tools for adult problems. There was so much that was put on us that I should have just never known. Conflict and this and that going on. I should have never known any of that. I was a kid. There's this level of embarrassingly premature intimacy is maybe the right term for it, where kids grow up fast and they don't get to be themselves. They have to be what keeps the family together. So much of that in my childhood, where I just had to abandon myself and who I am as a person because it was up to me. It was up to me to save everyone. Talk about madness. You got this young kid as a teenager thinking he can save somebody, thinking that he's got something figured out. Meanwhile, he's abandoned every few months. He's treated like he doesn't matter. And the only thing that matters is keeping mom's emotional state regulated by ceasing to exist. That's really what it had to be. I had to cease to exist for everything to be okay at home. I couldn't be me. I couldn't be anything. I had to remain this fantasy that was created to keep the family together. I couldn't be me, and I certainly couldn't do what was required of me. On a long enough timeline, this led me to be a person that just didn't care, because nothing I could do would satisfy what they were looking for. I can't tell you how many permutations I went through of if I would just do this, if I just try this, if I just, if you know that you're in a dysfunctional scenario and you're doing the what ifs 9 billion times, you might want to take a step back and ask yourself honestly, does this other person even desire to change? Or am I abandoning myself to be able to have them have all the space in the room? I got a lot of relationships in my life now where people just they have zero interest in having any space for me. And so I fill up a small amount of space as humanly possible in that relationship. You see, I learned how to undo the shame and the guilt of being myself. I learned how to just be me. And it took me a long, 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 long time. I mean a long time. An astonishingly long time. And there's still times where I question. But the answer is always be yourself, be honest, be true to who you are. Because in truth, that's what matters. That's all that matters. I don't have to be anyone else but me. And if I'm not good enough as I am, there's no need to continue the relationship. Now, I'm not saying that I can't change and I can't grow. It's certainly not what I'm saying. It just simply comes down to this truth. I want to live the rest of my life in relationships where people value me as I am, not as they would have me to be. That people would respect me, that I could respect them in the same exact exchange of friendship as they are. That they don't need to be anything else other than who they are. And that is a really scary thing for most people. To have no facade. Man, I remember when I was that way. I remember the scared little kid. Other kids are asking me, Paul, where's your mom? Why isn't she at soccer? She's always at soccer. I remember being that kid. Oh, she's not feeling well. Lie. Lie to survive. Lie, lie, lie to survive. over and over and over and over again. I wish I could have just told the truth. It might have helped me, might have helped my family. Maybe somebody would have stepped in and did something. I don't know. It gives me much confusion on how being me took so long. Took me such a long time to look myself in the mirror and say to myself, I like who you are. And if nobody else in the world ever likes who you are, I'm okay with it. At least we have who we really are instead of what life has convinced us to fabricate. I think many people fabricate identities because they're scared to show themselves. And I certainly was the exact same way when I was a kid and when I was an adult. I didn't have the ability to be me. I wanted so badly to have acceptance and approval that I exchanged who I was to acquire that. Instead of being in the pursuit of my authentic self, I was in the pursuit of using other people to feel like I mattered. How shallow. How shallow is that? That was most of my life. I used other people to feel like I mattered. I wish I could sit here and tell you that I don't get any pangs of that desire anymore. I do. It happens. I'm just no longer led by that desire. I'm no longer in the pursuit of the approval of other people. I've transitioned beyond that to I've got the relationships in my life I'm probably going to end up dying with. And I'm okay with that. If I don't add any close friends to my friendships, I'm good. I'm good from here on out. I got my ride or dies. I would say I'm pretty fortunate. I got 20 to 30 guys I could call at any time, anywhere, and they would show up if I asked them to. Now, that's a very rare thing in life. And it's rare because the longer you're not yourself, the fewer authentic people you attract to yourself. You remain in bondage to a fantasy. That's at least what happened to me all through my 20s. All through my 20s, I fabricated an identity that not only wasn't me, it was how can I be seen to be approved of by others? I wish I could have just been me. I think I'd have a lot more relationships in my life if that was true. But my journey has led me here now to you through this lens as I am. Nothing great, nothing not great, just me. I hope this finds you well. I hope if you've been living a facade for most of your life, that you could have the courage to ask yourself, why? Why can't I be me? Who will I disappoint? Who will I disappoint? What's holding me back? You're worth it. And you're unique. No one else on this planet can ever be you. Instead of trying to get everybody to accept you, accept yourself as you are.